What's cracking, guys? Bruce Mattson here, your host show of Metro Scout Fantasy Football, and we're continuing with our prospect profile series, and we're hitting up our first quarterback of the year. And today we're talking about Malik Willis. A lot of people are talking about him right now because he's been blowing up the Senior Bowl. Had a really good practice today, been looking good, strong arm, he's been placing it well, been really good in interviews. A lot of people are talking him up. Just look at him on social media and you won't hear one bad thing about him right now. At the Senior Bowl, he logged in at 6 foot, 220 pounds. Coming out of high school, he was a 3-star recruit, and he went to Auburn to start his collegiate career. He didn't do much there. He played behind Jarrett Stidham. From there, he transferred to Liberty, sat out his 2019 season, then came in and played in 2020. There, he passed for 2,250 yards and 20 touchdowns, a good season, while rushing for 944 yards and 14 touchdowns, so he was very productive. The following year, this year, 2021, passed for 2,857 yards, 27 touchdowns, so he increased the numbers a little bit. Rushed for 878 yards, 13 touchdowns, very productive. Had a 70.7 adjusted completion rate. He averaged 10.9 air yards per pass attempt and produced a 43.8 completion rate on throws that went for 20 plus yards. When you watch the tape, you see a dynamic player. You see a guy who can sling it all over the yard. Strong arm, can make all the throws. He's a very good athlete, can fit it into tight windows, can make the hardest pass look easy. Pretty much does all of that, has good maneuverability in the pocket, has good poise in the pocket. However, with all the stuff that I'm talking about, the good decision making, the placement on throws, all of that stuff, he just needs to be more consistent with it. He's rough around the edges. He needs to cut down on those negative plays that can easily be avoidable. There are just some issues with his accuracy, like some plays are just not there, and then 2 plays down the road, he is making the most incredible throw you've ever seen, and this guy can be lights out, but then on the other edge of the spectrum, he's leaving you scratching your head. That's what you see from the tape. That's what you've seen during his career at Liberty during these last 2 seasons, but the upside's there. His draft stock is rising. The Senior Bowl is going to pump him up, especially if he continues to play well this week, which I expect him to do. I think he's a very good player. I think he has the tools. I just think he just needs to get more consistent with them. I feel like he needs to go to an NFL team with some weapons already there and with a staff who's willing to be patient with him to allow him to grow in his role, allow him to have every opportunity to succeed and every opportunity to also fail. And when I look at him from a long-term fantasy perspective, I see him either 2 ways. Either he's going to be one of the top quarterbacks in fantasy or a straight flat-out bust. I feel like there's no in-between road, because if he's going to hit, he's going to hit. And if he's going to hit, it's going to be in a major way, because he's just too dynamic. He does so much well, and he's such a big-time playmaker, especially when you count in his rushing ability and his ability to sling the ball all over the yard and be accurate. And then when you look at the inconsistencies that we see, if he can buckle those down and just develop, take a step forward, maybe we can get a quarterback who can be a long-term dynasty asset. On the other edge of the spectrum, if he doesn't develop, if he doesn't take that step forward, we may be left scratching our heads, wonder what could have happened with Malik Willis. What could happen with this quarterback? It's not a very exciting quarterback class. It's not like we have top-tier guys like Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields coming at us. It's a very iffy, wishy-washy quarterback class, and Malik Willis has these goods here that could make him a good prospect. Well, he is a good prospect. He's a prospect. He just has these things that he's got to fix for him to move on to the next level, for him to take that next step in his game. If he does it, then we got a good quarterback. If he doesn't, we might see him flutter around in mediocrity. That's all we're going to see out of him. I see him being more like a Jalen Hurts type of quarterback where he's really good at the fantasy football spectrum, but when you hear people talk about his game, they are left wanting more, especially Eagles fans, so I could see that too. But all in all, Malik Willis has the goods. He deserves a chance to prove himself. I'm excited to watch him play. I look for his draft capital to increase due to his performance during the Senior Bowl, and that's all I got to say about that. I think in Superflex, we're going to see his value increase a little bit. Whether he becomes like a 101, 102, 103 prospect, we have to wait and see. I think that depends on draft capital. If he goes somewhere like Pittsburgh, Denver, where they have some weapons there in place, people are going to speculate hard on that. I might drive up the cost. However, he falls in the draft farther than we expect, or go to the team without any weapons in place, then we may not see him receive that type of bump in value to get him to be a top-tier asset in Superflex. But we're going to have to wait and see what happens. The draft is going to be huge for his initial Dynasty stock going forward. But that's all I got for you today on Malik Willis. Make sure you hit the subscribe button when you're rolling out here. Every subscription matters. It fuels me to keep bringing up these prospects. Fuels me to keep doing the research, watching tape, and everything else. Keeping my ear to the ground so I can relay all my information to you guys right here. Again, I want to thank you, and I'll catch you next time.